Eila, Sanda. Welcome on to my channel. This week I am doing a video on Vidarr, Odin's son. Enjoy. TOVA here. This week I'm doing a video on Vidarr, the Norse god who was the son of Odin and Greed. Greed was a giantess and was one of many of Odin's conquests. But yes, so who was Vidarr and what importance did he have? Well, for a start, he was renowned for wearing a shoe of power, and this shoe was very, very important. I'll go into that a bit later, but if you look at the altar today, it is very basic. In the background you see grass and lovely forestry, and the reason for that is because Vidarr was the god not only of vengeance but of silence, and he loved to sit amongst nature. Although where he was a field of weeds and long grass, it was basically insinuating that that area was unkept and it was open and wild and free of any disturbances, so he could sit for many, many hours just in silence, and he loved that. He could just be, and a lot of us need to take a lesson from this, because to sit in silence is when we hear the most. He was one of Odin's sons, and he was very important because of what will happen at Ragnarok, the god of vengeance. And in the story, which I will tell in a minute after we go through some of the other stuff, it was very important, and it changes what happens. So again, we need to understand the logic behind it. Now, he wore a shoe upon his foot which was made from all the old pieces of leather that mankind in Midgard would shed away from the shoe, or the shoe itself, and he would take those and add it to his shoe, because it was very important, this shoe, because it was a bit like the hammer with Thor. The shoe was his power, and he would build this shoe up, which was needed at a later date, and it was powerful. He also was, as I say, not only the god of vengeance but also of silence. So if you wanted to work with this god, he's ideal if you're in a situation where you need to stay silent but also use righteous vengeance against something, or as we say today, righteous anger. There are situations where sometimes we speak before we think, and so if you're in a situation where you might be doing something to that extent, you need really to call upon him, and he will help you to deal with it because he is insightful. I imagine him to be like that statue where he sits upon the stone like that, the great thinker, the great doer. He sits and he thinks about it before he walks in and takes action. And that's what a lot of us need to be doing and thinking about. Now also, if you look at the altar now, first of all I'm burning dragon's blood, a stone which I haven't got, so I couldn't put it upon the altar. altar is red jasper, or any colour red really. His colours are sky blue, brown and blue, so you can alternate the colours. Today I'm wearing brown and blue. They denote both sides of him, so you know, the silence and the sky and the brown of the vengeance, because you could also use dark red, but because we use dark red a lot, I thought brown is probably nicer, being it's towards the end of the year. Well, it's beginning of autumn, and I just thought it makes more sense. Now, we would give an offering to this god, which I will show you later on. I'm just trying to think of other things. Now, because he is a god of silence, you know, you could contact him via meditation in a very silent aspect and allow him just keep putting that thought across and see what comes back. Silence is something that we find hard to sometimes attain. Also, you can use the other stone to denote the other side of him, which would be blue lace agate. Again, you can put the two stones together to balance out the energies. You can also use the rune Ewas. Now, if you don't know, as you see, that is the rune Ewas, and stone for defence. And there's a reason behind that. So again, you can use this as the rune for Vidarr. Now, getting on to the story. The story goes that when Ragnarok comes, Odin is swallowed by Fenrir and killed. And so Vidarr comes along in vengeance, and the shoe that he wears upon his foot is so powerful and big. He is able to put his foot into the mouth of Fenrir and hold it down firmly, whilst holding the other jaw and pushing it up so as to make a big gap, and Fenrir cannot get away. And with the other hand, he picks the sword up and he slices through Fenrir and kills him. Now, it is known that Vidarr survives, and he took vengeance on Fenrir, who was Loki's son. So again, we can see there is a background to this, that all along the silence was almost like Vidarr is waiting for this to happen and getting himself built up, building that shoe up, getting it strong so that he can take revenge, get his vengeance, you know, for killing Odin. Terrible. But that is renowned. Odin knows this is going to happen, and Fenrir knows he's going to die. They all know what parts they're going to be playing in Ragnarok. So again, my friends, very basic altar. And the reason for that is because he is a god of silence. He doesn't need clutter. He doesn't need that. But if you want to connect with him, a good way of doing this is to give an offering. And the best offering you can give him, honey whiskey. And that is an offering that I'm going to give to Vidarr. If you have a shoe, you can put the shoe upon the altar too, for he can take that shoe, that essence of the leather, for strength, to add to his own big shoe that he is wearing. And he will be really pleased with that. He will be pleased with that. Vidarr. son of Odin and greed. We thank you for the vengeance you will give to aid the death of your father, to take what you need in the silence you have portrayed all along. We give you the strength of whiskey to aid you on your journey, but we also give you some more leather to aid you in building the shoe of power. And we thank you for taking Fenrir down at Ragnarok. That was a very quick ritual to just give offerings to Vidarr, to think about why he's in silence and the reasons behind it. And I thought it'd be nice just to do a very small pathworking, just to meet him and to see what he's like and to aid him in some way. Maybe take a gift in your thoughts to him to give him the strength. And also you have to remember he was the second strongest god. Okay, Thor is Thor, but he was the second strongest. So Vidarr is a very strong god, very mighty. You have to remember his mother was a giantess, his father was Odin, so very powerful. So I want you now to close your eyes and take some deep breaths in. So in again through your nose and hold it, and then out through your mouth, and just relax. Just let yourself seep into the surroundings around you. Let the light of peace and silence come upon you. So as you start to take your breaths in and release them out, you start to feel like you're relaxing. I want you to think about a field that is so large you can't see anything other than this field. There's nothing in it, no trees, no nothing, and the grass is very high, a bit like pampas grass. And as you walk toward it, you have to part the grass to walk through, and it's all brown and tinged, not green and luxurious, but it still has a beauty about it. And the sky is blue, and this colour brown of the grass that's growing, and then you notice the big weeds in between, and you think to yourself, I want to get rid of those weeds, but there is no importance to them, for the weeds and the grass grow together, and in some ways they aid each other, just like the god Vidarr. He has two parts to him, and so does this grass and this weed. And sometimes they both have a job to do. You know, getting rid of one thing doesn't always benefit the other. But also, there is a time to get rid of the weed, and the weed can be damaging. So you have to balance it out, and that takes a lot of thought and a lot of understanding. So as you walk along, guys, and you push away the grass, you don't quite know where to find Vidarr because you can't see anything. So the thought in your mind comes, think about Ewas, think about the rune. Now if you have still got your eyes open, guys, to remind you, here is the rune Ewas. Okay, defense. So we ask Ewas, we say, Ewas, please show us where Vidarr is. And you see this light shining upon the grass in the distance, and you can hear the wind and the bees buzzing, and it sounds very summery, very lovely. So as you walk towards it and you're pushing the grass aside, you suddenly see what you're not expecting. A sitting on the floor. He's wearing a brown top and long type skirt thing with a belt, and he has sandals upon his feet, and he is sitting on the floor with his knees up and his arms rested upon his knees, and he's just staring into space. You come up a bit worried that you might disturb him. Around him is lots of piles of leather, and he is picking them up, and he is putting them onto a shoe that is shining bright with energy. So as you walk up to him, you say, "Hail, Vidarr." And he turns around and he says, "I've been expecting you. Hello. Have you come to help me? Have you come to help me make my shoe?" And you think, what have I brought to give him? And you say, "I know." And you take your shoes off of your feet and you say, "I would like to give these to you, Vidarr, to aid you and to give you strength of your shoe." And then you realise you have a drink with you, and you say, "I would like to give you this drink to aid you, to help you to get there on your journey. For we know you have a conquest ahead of you, and we wanted to get to know you, to aid you, and to ask you to be with us too." At that he laughs, very happy. "Thank you so much, my friend. Put them down." And you put the shoes down. And you give him the drink, which he drinks up very quickly and says, "Thank you so much." He then looks at you and he says, "This is very serious business, my friend. Until Ragnarok comes, I can be called upon to aid you in any venture you are going through. Whatever it is, maybe I can help you with strength and vengeance, but also silence. You have to be careful." And at this point, guys, I want you to now sit with him the same way and look into the distance as he does, and just tell him what it is you would like him to help you with. And while you're doing that, I'm just going to tap the drum. And now you've asked him what you want, and hopefully he's given you an answer. You look at him and see him almost like yourself. Someone who has got thoughts, who is thinking about what he's got to do and how he's going to do it. And so from this, the answer would be to sit and think, to sit, analyse, to sit and not just walk into a situation and speak words that have not been thought out properly, or deeds that have not been thought out properly. For sometimes we do things in the wrong way. And I think Vidarr is now wanting you to understand he needs to be in his silence again, for he has a big job ahead of him. But he does say to you, thank you for the offering you have given to me, and they will be made good use of. Thank you for the drink that you have quenched my thirst with. For this I will aid you if you come to me in need. All you have to do is ask. And with that, he asks if he may be left now in his silence. And so we take our journey away from him, back to where we was, back to the room we were sitting in, the chair we were sitting upon. And as we go, we feel quite sad leaving him on his own. But that is his destiny, that is him, that is his trait. And so we see Ewas again ahead of us, who aided us to get here. And so we say, Ewas, please take us home. You find yourself back in your chair, back where you was. And when you're ready, guys, open your eyes and do this with your fingers and your toes and make yourself feel back to where you was. And also, when you finished it all, have a drink, have something small to eat, because you do need to ground yourself after going on any form of path work. So now you have been and you have met him and you have seen the surroundings that he is in. We cannot see how he conquers Fenrir, or how sad he is that his father has died, and how angry he must have felt over Loki again doing the damage. But it is written, it is proclaimed, and so is the story and the destiny of wonderful Vidarr, son of Odin and Greed. Okay guys, well, it was different. I hope you enjoyed, but again, I have dragon's blood on here, just one light, and obviously the whiskey and the shoe as an offering. And that's all you need to do for Vidarr. A god that's not always spoken about, yet has a big, big thing to do. A big, well, he's the one that's going to kill Fenrir, and that is a big thing. But he's not always thought about so much. But it's nice to bring a different god up into the subjects and to know more about them. There's not a lot wrote about him. There's not a lot wrote about a lot of the gods, but you can get to know them personally. You can contact them and get to know their little ways and their personalities, and the more you do it, the more you learn. Again, you can't always go by the written word, you have to go by what you are getting from them. It is a relationship. And so, I hope you're all well. I hope everybody's happy and everything's great. I want to thank any new subscribers. I really do appreciate it. And I hope you get benefit from this channel. Thank you to any returning subscribers. It's very nice to see people return. I hope you're enjoying the content. And to all those that are always there for me, love you from the bottom of my heart. And there I'm going to leave it this week. So wherever